The story begins when Kaido sprays a slime to finish it off using 2 spray bottles. It's an ordinary slime, and Kaido has been searching dungeons to discover and kill slimes for the past 2 years. So far, he has only found ordinary kinds, and this particular slime is his 999th in 2 years. Just one more to complete his 1000, but before that, he collects its blue magic core from the ground, puts it in his backpack to sell, and gets some yen. He is not quite satisfied with his performance, as even after killing so many slimes, he is just a nobody without any exceptional skills. But he starts moving ahead to complete his 1000 slime hunt after shaking off the disappointment from his head. At one corner of the dungeon, Kaido sees a golden slime moving and plans to hunt it for his 1000 slime. He hides carefully before targeting the slime with his spray, then comes out straight in front of it. Using his intense sprays, Kaido kills the 1000 slime. The golden slime falls down, but unusually, he is not leveled up like every other time. Neither has his exp increased, but he knows that, being a different slime, its mana core would be valuable. Thus, he fetches the magic core left on the ground after the dead slime. It's a golden card with a wheel on one side and the picture of a girl on the other. Seeing the girl, he assumes that she could be some kind of servant card. So before making any judgment, he analyzes the girl on the card and discovers her status. The girl's name is Sylphie, and she is actually a Valkyrie, which means she is indeed a servant card. That makes him so happy, but he definitely doesn't want to let anybody know about it, not yet. Thus, Kaido makes sure that there are no cameras around him in the dungeon recording the picture of this golden card. Then he takes out his phone to search for details about Sylphie. Surprisingly, there is no data about the servant Sylphie. But Valkyries belong to the Divine Warriors category and are definitely rare cards. Kaido needs more information about rare cards, so he heads towards the 6th gate. The armored and strong fighters emerge from the gate, and Kaido imagines if he could earn that much by selling the golden card, that he could buy weapons and armor. But to ask about it, he goes to the girl at the reception. She buys the 3 ordinary magic cores for 1500 yen. Instead of showing and selling his golden slime core card, he asks her what the price for a rare slime card might be. She tells him that people buy them for over 1 billion yen. That shakes him to the core, and all he thinks about is making 1 billion yen by selling the golden card. That day, he reaches the dungeon park and meets his friends Shinji and Hayato. They just like to walk around the park with the Dungeon Explorer cards. Some time ago, they thought that at level 2, they could easily beat a goblin. But that goblin charged at all 3 of them at once, and they were injured quite badly, thanks to the potion that healed them. But from that day onward, Shinji and Hayato never thought of walking in dungeons again. While Kaido tells them that he is still a level 3 slime hunter. He does not tell them about the golden cards and shares that he enjoys hunting slimes only. That night, Katsuragi sees through her window that Kaido is walking towards his home while it's too late. His mom and dad know that he works late. But he doesn't share the truth and thinks in the shower whether to sell the golden mana card or call it servant. Having a servant will definitely make him stronger. But with all the money that he could get by selling it, Kaido thinks that he could buy all the fancy weapons, gear, and games. The next day, he feels drowsy because he was up thinking about the card. Katsuragi walks along with him to school and asks him where he was as she watched him return so late. Kaido hides that he was in the dungeon and assures her that he went to a party with friends. Meanwhile, both his friends come towards them, and before they could say hi to Katsuragi, he tells them to lie that he went with them last night. They do so, and Katsuragi takes a sigh of relief as she dislikes Kaido going to dungeons. Kaido cannot control his curiosity and asks his friends what they would do if any of them found a rare card. They imagine selling it promptly, getting rich, and being able to buy everything and anything at all. But that is so rare because it's so difficult to find such a card. Kaido sits in class, and instead of focusing on the lecture, he still thinks about what to do with the card. He is not sure if the card servant will be any good to him. On the other hand, he can get a lot of money by selling it, but if he calls the servant out once, the card will lose its value. Suddenly, he looks at Katsuragi and thinks to himself that he will call the servant for Katsuragi. Thus, he rushes towards the dungeon and takes the card in hand. Kaido summons Sylphie Valkyrie and imagines that he and Katsuragi will become gods. As soon as he calls the servant of the card, a giant girl appears amid the lightning and whirlwind. That giant girl extends her hands towards him and wraps them around him. Kaido cannot understand what's happening, and the girl disappears. He looks around to search for her, but someone pokes his back. It's a tiny little girl standing behind him, introducing herself as Sylphie Valkyrie. Kaido looks at her with utter disappointment as she is nothing like the demigod he imagined emerging from the card. His dreams of becoming a warrior god are gone. With that, his 1 million yen that he could have earned by selling it also went down the drain. Now he can't buy games, a pool house, or armor. Seeing her master bent in disappointment, Sylphie wants to know what's the matter with him. But he can't explain it to her yet and walks ahead of Sylphie, telling her that they have to hunt slimes. Knowing what her master wants, she tells him that she can sense the slime in the dungeon and guides him exactly where there is one. That makes half the work easy as Kaido does not have to search for them. He wants to know her power. Thus Kaido asks Sylphie to handle the slime for him. Thus she creates a great thunder and kills the slime in the next instant. She used so much power in killing that slime. With her 170 battle points, it was totally expected of her. Kaido now knows that her battle points are 17 times more than his. But suddenly Sylphie starts looking so feeble and asks for something to eat. Kaido had heard somewhere that servants eat the mana cores of slimes. That would fill their hunger. Thus he instantly gives Sylphie the mana core. She eats it and instantly feels better. But if she gets to eat all the mana cores after each slime hunt, then there would be no more funds for him. Thus, Kaido only asks Sylphie to guide him to where the slimes are. He kills all the slimes by targeting them exactly where she points them. In the next few hours, he not only collects a lot of mana cores by killing many slimes, but he is finally leveled up to level 4. With that, Kaido has also achieved the title of Slime Slayer. Sylphie congratulates him as all his stats have collectively increased by 50%. But he was expecting a bigger reward, so Kaido feels disappointed. But noticing his disappointment, Sylphie lifts his spirits, telling him that no achievements are small. Now, as Kaido has to go home, he wants to send Sylphie back to the card. Sylphie feels sad, but she asks him to promise that he will summon her again, which he does. Thus, putting her back in the card, he crosses Gate No. 6 to sell the mana cores from today's slime hunt. She is so impressed that Kaido has collected more mana cores than anyone in history. That alone earned him 15,000 yen today. After selling, he reaches home and thinks, lying on his bed, about the power of Sylphie. He can finally consider going to the second floor now with Sylphie's power, but he is still afraid of it. In his dream, he sees Katsuragi's father on TV. While he and Katsuragi watch him on TV when they are still little kids, Katsuragi is so excited to see her father explore the deeper parts of the dungeon today. The reporter on TV admires his bravery, because he will unleash the deeper secrets and truths about the dungeons. The next day, he is sure to explore the second floor of the dungeon along with Sylphie, because he wants to become a daring and brave hero like Katsuragi's father, while Sylphie is so excited to fight beside him on the second floor. 15 years ago, the dungeon doors appeared on the surface of the earth. Niai-san and his friend are the first explorers of dungeons and took it as their duty to reveal their secrets to the world. They are the Dungeon Exploration Elite Unit, and their other members of the group are the best qualified persons from all over the world. Miai-san and the friend enter the dungeon, and on the first exploration level, they encounter many goblins. Thus, walking ahead, they clear a lot of areas and think of opening this explored part of the dungeon to the general public. That would make it a great tourist attraction. Hence, they soon convert it into an amusement park and adventure site. Now anyone who is 15 years old or above can get an explorer's license and enter the dungeon. One day, Niai-san and the girl get attacked by a giant goblin and fall down. Niai-san fights back and gets badly injured. In the rage, the girl kills the goblin and fetches the mana potion to save him. She pours it into Niai-san's mouth so it can bring him back. That's where the first love story began in the dungeon. On the present day, Kaido calls the servant Sylphie and walks towards the second floor where goblins live. He has not forgotten the terrible experience of hunting goblins 2 years ago. Thus, when he walks ahead, his legs begin trembling with fear. Sylphie notices the fear and grabs his hand in hers to relax Kaido a bit. That trick actually works, and Kaido thanks Sylphie for making him feel better. He scans this part of the dungeon for goblins. In the same minute, Sylphie points towards a corner, telling him that a goblin is hiding there. She can detect their presence without seeing them. But surprisingly, Kaido has once again started walking back. She wants to know what's the matter, and in the same minute, Kaido remembers Katsuragi's father's bravery and returns to fight. He wants to become a hero and grabs his stick in hand to beat the goblin. It was sitting still in a corner. Sylphie tells him that she will handle the goblin and begins a magic incantation with her hands. But at that moment, Kaido stops her because he wants to fight the goblin alone. Thus, with shivering legs, he charges at the goblin with his stick. But it hits nowhere near the goblin, and Kaido falls down. When the goblin attacks, he saves himself with his shield, but ultimately he falls down with his stick falling away. But before the goblin can attack him once more, Kaido sprays the slime killer spray in the goblin's eyes, which leaves him blind. Kaido quickly gets up and attacks the goblin with his stick, killing it. He still cannot believe what he did and fetches the mana core of the goblin. On the other hand, Sylphie is so impressed by Kaido's fighting skill and wants to join in the fight next time. The stats on his experience board suddenly rise, and now his status is improved to Goblin Slayer. This particular status is awarded to people who are afraid of goblins at first, but overcome their fears and kill them in the first combat. He is surprised that he leveled up too, while in the last couple of years, killing slimes has barely improved his level. Now Sylphie urges him to walk ahead and kill more goblins. Thus, one after another, he keeps killing goblins. Sometimes he sprays in their eyes, while at other times Sylphie helps him by making a protective shell around them. She tells him that previously she was helping her master in accomplishing missions in the dungeon. This time, she helps kill a goblin with her lightning magic and eats the mana core to regain her strength. Afterward, Kaido sells 4 goblin mana cores at the reception. The receptionist is surprised as it is the first time ever he has brought goblin mana cores, and it's already more than one can bring on their first attempt. He confesses that he is just lucky and returns after getting paid. The next day, he sleeps in late on Sunday. His mother assumes that he has been working hard and can't get up. But even on Monday, he can barely walk to school. His legs tremble with tiredness, and Katsuragi guesses that he went to the dungeons once again. But he lies that he is working hard to become a great athlete. Katsuragi hates that kind of body, so she advises him to work out moderately. Their classmates discuss the upcoming movie that will be released in summer, made by the Dan siblings. While Kaido tells his friends that he went to hunt goblins and now wants to go deeper into the dungeons. His friends look quite impressed, but at the same time, as a dungeon explorer, he cannot get closer to Katsuragi and win her heart. On the other hand, taking Sylphie along, he kills goblins in the dungeons. that makes him so tired that he sleeps in class. Killing one goblin after another levels him up, and now Kaido is a level 10 player. He has also gained a new Divine Blessing skill, which means that he is loved by the divines, and it's a cheat skill that has improved his stats. He is so thankful to Sylphie as she belongs to the divine world, and he has definitely earned her favor to get that skill. He bows in front of Sylphie in gratitude. Then he grabs her hand and asks if she would continue to be with him in his fights. She promises with affection, but at that moment, a shining skeleton comes to attack them. Before it can attack, Sylphie makes a protective shell that it cannot cross. At the same time, Kaido attacks the skeleton with a tungsten rod. But this particular rod, which kills goblins, has no effect on the illuminating skeleton at all. Thus, seeing its strength, Kaido asks Sylphie to help him kill it. She uses Lightning Storm and smashes the skeleton's head in one go. It finishes him, leaving the red mana core behind. But since Sylphie killed the skeleton, she needs to fill her hunger with the mana core. Kaido gives it to Sylphie as she has earned it. But surprisingly, she tells Kaido that this particular red mana core was tastier than the others she has ever eaten. But now, after impulsively giving it to Sylphie, Kaido thinks that he hopes it was not expensive. But unfortunately, he was wrong. The receptionist at Gate 6 tells him that if he found a red mana core, he could easily earn 2 million yen from it. Thus, he doesn't want to drag her into unnecessary fights. Besides, he wants to test his powers and capabilities to fight alone. But he is ever so thankful to Sylphie for detecting and helping him in hunting the monsters. Kaido tells her that he sees her as his sister and wants to give her a nickname, which is Syl, so he will call her Syl from now on. Syl feels so grateful for his generosity. But suddenly, Syl senses something nearby. This time, Kaido asks her to stay away as he wants to fight alone. Suddenly, a goblin comes from behind a wall and charges at Kaido with a stick in his hand. Kaido fights back, but this fight leaves a lot of injuries on Kaido. Thus, he runs out of all the bank balance he earned so far by buying a healing potion. His plan to get on the 3rd floor needs a lot of gear and potions. As he needs Syl's help at each step, he needs the mana cores to feed her whenever she is hungry. Kaido makes another plan, which is to go on the 1st floor once again and kill as many slimes as he can. With Syl's help, he detects slimes and keeps killing slimes. His friends need to know why he is again on the 1st floor. Suddenly, Katsuragi hears them talking about slimes and investigates angrily if he is going to the dungeons. But he lies instantly, saying that he was talking about food. A few days later, he collects enough mana cores by killing slimes to feed Syl on the 3rd floor. He thanks her and is about to return, satisfied with the day's work. But suddenly, Syl senses something ominous nearby. They walk ahead and find a silver slime, but this time, Kaido asks Syl to watch his back. As Kaido attacks the silver slime with spray, it jumps away. But at the same time, Syl attacks with a lightning thunder and kills it. The silver slime leaves a card, which is no less than hitting a jackpot for Kaido. By analyzing it, Kaido discovers that he can summon a Viscount-class demon. After initial confusion about whether he should call a demon or not, he decides to do it. As he summons the demon, a beautiful girl stands in front of him. She opens up her eyes and introduces herself as a Viscount-class demon named Luceria. Kaido is not so happy with the way she is. He falls on the ground, dejected that all he wanted was a beautiful girl. But Luceria is a rude fighter demon. She makes sure if he is her new master because she finds him dumb and untrustworthy. And that's not what she expected as her master. Syl is so surprised that Luceria is not respecting her master and asks her to be a bit nicer. But being a demon, Luceria confesses that she has a sharp tongue. Besides, she does not think badly of anybody. That relaxes the terrified Sylphie, who was hiding from the moment Luceria emerged after Kaido summoned her from the car. Upon asking, Kaido introduced introduces her as Sylphie. Luceria takes a good look at Sylphie by revolving around her, and since she has already seen Valkyries, she rightly guesses Sylphie is a Valkyrie. Suddenly, Luceria asks for the mana core as she feels hungry. It's surprising for Kaido that she asks for a mana core without even killing one monster. At that moment, Sylphie points to a corner where a slime is present. To test Luceria's potential, Kaido asks her to show her skill and kill the slime. She uses Ruinous Hellfire and kills the slime by inducing 130 BP Hellfire. But in return, Kaido has to give the earned mana core to Luceria. Unfortunately, she still feels hungry and asks for more. But Kaido refuses to give extra mana cores from his stock as she earned the one she killed. That annoys Luceria, and she tells Kaido that he is a cheap master. In her stats, Kaido reads that Luceria can use another power called Breath of Decay. Hence, as soon as a goblin runs towards them, he urges her to use Breath of Decay. That slowly and terribly kills the goblin, but the sight is so disgusting. Kaido gives Luceria this mana core as well, and it was tastier, because a stronger monster's mana core is tastier and juicier. She could not wait to get more monsters, but Kaido stops her to wait as he wants to hunt monsters on the 3rd floor, because there are monsters found in groups, and now, as a team, they can kill them easily. But before that, Kaido has to buy a strong weapon for himself. Luceria does not have any information about dungeons, and when Kaido asks her to leave because he is tired of today's hunt, she refuses. Syl wants her to obey her master, and ultimately she agrees. The next day, Kaido reaches the 3rd floor with a weapon that was quite expensive. On the first corner of the 3rd floor, they find 2 hellhounds. As soon as they spot them standing, the hounds begin running towards them, but Kaido orders Syl to make a protective bubble to shield them, and at the same time, Luceria throws hellfire at the hounds. That burns the hellhounds in an instant, but as soon as she kills them, she demands both mana cores found from killing the 2 hellhounds, while Kaido gives her only one. Suddenly, 2 wild boars attack them, and Luceria kills one with Ruinous Hellfire, while Kaido begins shooting arrows towards the other. The boar keeps coming at him as the arrow hits its eye, but does not affect it much. But the second arrow kills it, and while fighting it, Kaido falls down out of fear. Luceria mocks him, but the good thing is he is leveled up to level 11. Luceria keeps asking for every single mana core he earned today. Not only that, she also wants to eat extras. On his way back, he hears a few girls talking about how they made a group to explore the 6th floor. He is impressed and hopes that his party will also make it to the 6th floor. But in class, his friends ask him what he thinks about getting good grades and going to a university, because they are worried about getting into a good university. Kaido has never given it a thought. Katsuragi really hopes they go to the same university, as they have been together since preschool. He nervously agrees because he has had no time to think about university, as he spends all his time exploring different levels of dungeons. Later that day, on the 3rd floor, Luceria and Sylphie keep killing boars and hellhounds with their magic, but Kaido is surprised at Sylphie's behavior. He notices a silence and a change, but cannot tell what it is. He keeps thinking about it at home as well. But when he watches the movie of the Dan siblings, where the girl gets jealous because Niai-san was giving more importance to a newbie, Kaido understands that Syl's new attitude is jealousy. He imagines both Syl and Luceria settling their dispute of jealousy with a duel. He can't imagine what he would do if that were the case. On his way to school, Katsuragi notices a tension in his attitude and wants to know what is bothering him. Kaido makes up a story that his 2 friends have 2 girls who are complete opposites. He is worried about how they will all get along. Katsuragi suggests that they should talk to them directly. Hence, after school, instead of calling Luceria and Syl at the same time, he only summons Syl because he wants to hear what's bothering her. She reluctantly shares that Kaido talks to Luceria more ever since she has joined them, and he gives her more mana cores. Kaido assures her that she is very important to him. Now he promises that they will get an equal amount of mana cores, and he will try to talk to her more like before. He summons Luceria as well, and suddenly Syl kills a giant boar and her level increases. She is so happy, and now she can kill many attacking monsters at the same time. The protective shell is stronger than before, but with that, her hunger also increases. She demands more mana cores after each hunt like Luceria, and the receptionist is also surprised that he is not bringing as many mana cores as before. Thus, he decides to go to the 1st floor with both Luceria and Syl. He will kill the slimes with spray to get mana cores, while they will only cheer her on. That day, the receptionist tells him that he can move to the 3rd floor as he is perfectly capable. So after returning home, he searches on the internet for the gear and weapons needed to get to the 4th floor. He likes a carbon nanopoint full bodysuit, but it is so expensive that he can't buy it yet. The next day, exploring the dungeons with Sill's pointing skill, he discovers a special slump. He alerts both Sill and Luciria to kill it in the hope that he will get another special card and a servant. But this time, he gets a magic ball. He imagines himself as a wizard after breaking the magic ball and smashing it onto the ground at once. He gets the new skill of water ball by smashing and very excitedly moves to the 3rd floor to test it, telling Sill to make a protective cover and keeping Luciria on alert. He moves towards a hellhound. Now he throws the magic water ball at the hellhound, but it was just a water splash that didn't affect it at all. Kaido falls down out of fear, and Sill and Luciria finish the hellhound. But he is now regretting not selling the magic ball, as this skill is of no use. Watching him sitting sadly on a swing, Katsuragi asks him what is the matter. He stammers when he hides the fact that he is worried about the magic ball and tells her to walk home with him. On the way, he thanks her for guiding him about the 2 girls the other day. He tells her that he talked to the girl and sorted the matter. That surprises Katsuragi, as Kaido had told her that he was asking about his friends. He wants to clarify, but she quickly enters her home and shuts the door. She sighs behind the door, and Kaido wonders if it was jealousy that he noticed in Sill the other day. But he shakes off this thought, as he doesn't think he is that important to her. Kaido can't leave his newly found magic ball as a useless skill. Thus, he goes to the dungeon, and in the presence of Sill and Luciria, he tests the magic ball's hitting power. Initially, he throws it at the wall slowly, which does not affect it at all. Afterwards, he improves his throw and hits the rock with a speedy magic water ball. It is improved, but he gets so tired that he falls down on the floor. He sleeps as if he is drained from the day's practice. But the next day, he shakes off the thought of giving up on his newly found power, because he always wanted to be like the brave Captain Katsuragi, who was his childhood hero. So the next time he goes to the dungeon, he tries harder with the water ball. After a few failed attempts, he commands the magic ball to change its shape, which it does. But with a certain shape, it could not get into an attacking form. By that time, Kaido feels so tired that he falls down. Getting out of the dungeon from the 6th floor, he bumps into someone. He apologizes to them, and they don't mind because Kaido looks visibly drained from all the hunting. They are 3 girls who are 7th floor explorers. They want to know if Kaido is okay. They keep watching him as he goes and are quite impressed that people work so hard to get to higher floors. The next day, he could not pay attention in class, and the teacher scolds him a lot. Katsuragi notices his lack of attention too. When his friends ask him, he shares that he is into a different kind of training these days, which will make him a winner and conqueror of dungeons one day. At the same time, Katsuragi hears them and stops midway, asking about dungeons and changing the subject to whether he is getting trained for dance. Kaido lies that he is practicing dance, and Katsuragi asks him to invite her to his practice someday. On the other hand, he notices that no matter how many monsters he kills or how much he practices his skills on the 4th floor, his level is not increasing, and he is not getting additional points in his experience. He assumes that maybe it is because he is trained enough on the 4th floor and needs to go to the 5th floor already. But before that, he needs better armor. Kaido has already liked a suit, so he orders it. Luciria instantly disapproves of watching him in that suit, but he explains the qualities of this particular nanotube suit, which will protect against any penetrable weapon. For instance, if someone throws an arrow or a pointed object at him, it will not get through the suit, so he will be safe. Sill appreciates the qualities of the suit instantly. When she learns that the bracelet, which is part of the suit, intensifies the magic effect, she praises her master. She says he is too good at choosing the best attack. But when he shares that he just read all of this in the suit's description and has not tried any of it, Luciria frowns, because no one buys a suit without trying it on. He also got this cheap potion with the suit. Disliking the things of his choice, Luciria drags Sill along with her as she was non-stop appreciating everything her master bought. Now they are finally on the 5th floor, which is slightly different from the lower ones. Suddenly, Sill feels the presence of something ominous in the surroundings. The giant insect monster is lurking behind the wall. Watching it gives pangs of fear to both Sill and Luciria, so they both hide, leaving their master behind. Kaido can't spare this monster, so he runs toward it to kill it. But then, Kaido appears after killing. Syl and Luceria are so sorry for their cowardice that they apologize to their master for not being around when he needed them. Syl is regretting and demands reprimand, but Kaido doesn't mind and offers them the darker mana core he got from killing the bug. They hate the sight of the bug and dislike the mana core as well, but they eat one each and dislike its taste. Going ahead as a team, they find a strange monster that looks like mud around the corner. Initially, Kaido attacks with his gun, but it does not affect watching someone attack them. The monsters start moving toward him. In the meantime, he asks Syl to make an impenetrable maiden shell, which saves him from the monster's attacks. But simultaneously, Syl and Luceria throw divine lightning and hellfire. It finally defeats those beasts. That teaches Kaido that on the 5th floor, he will encounter monsters immune to physical attacks. Only magic will kill them. He offers the bug's mana core afterward, as he knows Syl and Luceria need them to regain strength. But even though they are hungry, both refuse to eat it. Walking ahead, Syl stops beside a wall. She senses strong magic from inside, which proves that something ominous is hiding beneath the wall. But Kaido is terrified to break the dungeon, as they may face some kind of penalty afterward. But he permits Syl to break the wall with her divine lightning magic. It reveals a secret passageway inside the dungeon. But Kaido warns that these types of dungeons have strange traps, so they must walk cautiously. At the same time, Luceria steps on a tile, and it goes down. Another tile from a wall slides away, and an arrow hits Kaido. He barely saves himself. But as he advises Syl and Luceria to be careful once again, Luceria steps on another tile, resulting in an electric shock. It shakes Kaido's body, and they think he is dead. But Kaido stands up again, looking just fine. At the end of the tunnel, there is a giant door. Kaido wants to return out of fear of finding something ominous beneath. He turns his back on the door and is about to leave. But suddenly, he returns and tries to open the door. It resists opening, so Syl uses divine lightning to break it open. Inside, there is a giant staircase. At the top of it, an ogre and a giant slime are looking at them, ready to attack. Kaido commands Luceria and Syl to throw a combined attack of divine lightning and hellfire. However, the attack does not reduce the monster's power at all. It is clear that these monsters are immune to magic attacks. They create an impenetrable maiden shell around them, and in the meantime, Kaido attacks the ogre with his gun. The repeated ammo attacks reduce the ogre's power, but then his ammo runs out, and the ogre is still standing strong. The ogre attacks with its giant stick on the shell, but at the same time, Kaido decides to use his water ball skill. Meanwhile, he asks Luceria to keep the giant slime's attention diverted. Kaido creates a magic ball, but since he is wearing a magic bracelet that intensifies magic, the water ball turns into an ice ball. He directs the ice crystals at the ogre, which gradually reduces its power until it ultimately dies. Afterwards, they need to deal with the slime. Kaido saves Luceria from the slime's attack using his shield, but the shield starts melting as it touches the slime. The slime is still very strong, and now the heat is melting Kaido's dress. Meanwhile, Syl creates a divine spear, Lazunite, and commands it to tear apart the slime. The slime shatters a bit but remains strong. For a moment, Kaido considers running away, but he remembers that he wants to be like Captain Katsuragi, so he attacks the slime once more using his spray guns. When the two sprays run out, having significantly reduced the slime's power, he takes out a more potent spray and continues attacking until the slime dies. They all hug in celebration of their great victory. However, since Kaido is injured, he needs to drink the healing potion. Even though he bought it cheaply, it does the job and heals him. Suddenly, lightning surrounds Luceria, indicating that she has leveled up as well. They move ahead to collect the mana cores of the ogre and slime. But surprisingly, along with a mana core, there is a magic sword, Blazer. He takes the red mana core to the receptionist, who is amazed at where Kaido got it. Kaido points to a place on the map where he obtained it from a hidden site. The receptionist cheerfully informs him that she will talk to the authorities because he can make a lot of money from it. At the same time, the receptionist invites him to participate in an event next week, where great warriors fight against the fighters of the 7th floor. He agrees and tells his friends that soon he will clear the 6th floor as well. But for the first time in his life, he will be part of a party with someone else in the dungeons. Suddenly, Katsuragi arrives and hears him talking about some party. She tells him to invite her to the party he's talking about. On the day of the event, Kaido gets nervous seeing so many people. Suddenly, he bumps into the ladies he met in the dungeon's corridors. They are impressed that he made it so far and introduce themselves as Eri, Miku, and Hikari. On the other hand, while leaving his house to go to dungeons as a warrior, Katsuragi's father says his goodbye. She doesn't want her father to leave home, but knowing little Katsuragi loves him a lot, the captain leaves the house promising her that he will return home before dinner. He promises her that and leaves the house as she waves goodbye. Katsuragi suddenly wakes up from this dream, and it's the last time she saw her father. He never returned afterward. Katsuragi leaves the bed with sheer sadness, says goodbye to her mother, telling her that she is leaving to go to a friend's home for combined study. On her way, she assumes that Kaido must be out of his home to learn dance or workout. Meanwhile, Kaido is standing along with his party members, preparing to go to the 7th floor. They take an entry gate where they disappear and reappear directly on the 7th floor. Kaido admits it's only the second time he has used this gate. The girls with him admit that they also don't use this gate too often. Suddenly, they see the guards guiding them to the stairs of the 7th floor. But before that, they need to buy some things from the convenience store present at the beginning of this floor. Kaido looks into his heavy backpack and is surprised that the girls are not carrying much with them, but they share that each one of them has a magic pouch which can contain many things in it. Kaido knows that it is very expensive, so the girls tell him that their father bought them these pouches. He is quite impressed that all the girls belong to such rich families, while he confesses that he has so far managed to get everything by selling the mana cores. Suddenly, Eri takes out her large spear from the pouch, and they start walking and exploring the 7th floor. This particular part is mostly inhabited by golems. Suddenly, they see a unit of soldiers walking towards them. These are the guards greeting the participants of the event, while they also maintain the clean. Kaido tells the girls that he is level 16. Eri shares that she is level 18, while the rest of the two girls are level 15. Suddenly, a few stones fall beneath them, and they turn around. It's a giant golem standing behind them. Eri takes her spear in her hand and asks Miku and Hikari to watch her back. She pierces the spear into the golem's body and hits it several times until it dies. As she picks up its mana core, another bronze golem appears. This time, she inflicts earth wave magic on the bronze golem and simultaneously summons a cat from a card. The card was similar to Kaido's servant card. The cat appears and attacks the golem, but it does not affect the golem at all. Hence, Hikari uses her firebolt magic, and it is useless. Suddenly, Eri attacks with her spear, and it pierces through the golem and kills it. A moment later, another iron golem appears, which is far too robust. This time, Eri's spear cannot pierce through its body. Hikari's firebolt magic is useless, and the cat attack was also in vain. In fact, the cat gets a bit injured. Now, Kaido searches for something useful in his bag and finds the magic sword Balisar. It is famous for inflicting envisioned magic effects on the target. Hence, Hikari casts earth wave magic while simultaneously Kaido pierces the iron golem's body with the sword. It passes right through its body and kills the iron golem. The girls are so impressed that Kaido has such useful weapons. Later, they have tea together and admire Kaido's skills. Kaido learns for the first time that the cameras can't capture the footage of servants. He thinks to himself that thankfully no one knows about Syl or Luceria. But Hikari also has a cat, and its footage should not be in the cameras. But Miku shares that her father bought it at an auction, so everyone knows about it. Each one of them keeps a keychain that they won from today's event. Then Eri wants to know if they have discussed, and they want him to be a part of their party. Now they are planning to explore the 11th floor, because through the transfer gate, one can skip 5 gates, so it will be best if he is with them. But seeing his hesitation, they assume that he wants to party with someone else. But Kaido thinks of telling them for a moment that he is already in a team with Syl and Luceria, but something stops him, and he promises that he will give their offer some thought and tell them later, because he has to ask about it from someone. He is afraid that they will think badly of him for keeping 2 little girls with him, and he might even go to jail. The next time he meets Syl and Luceria in the dungeons, They are very angry because Kaido is neglecting them. He clarifies that he was with another party, but they are jealous that he is making a team with others. Besides, Luceria is very angry about giving Sil a nickname while she is still being called Luceria. Hence, they come up with various names. But in the end, Luceria approves that she likes the nickname Lucy for herself among all the suggested names. Giving a nickname reduces her anger as well. But he could not ask them about joining the new party with Eri, Miku, and Hikari. The next day, on their way to school, Katsuragi asks him to go out with her. It has been a long time since they went on an outing together. In their childhood, Katsuragi's father used to take them to movies and parks. They agree to go somewhere, and as Katsuragi leaves his side, Kaido's friends congratulate him on going on his first date. He doesn't think it will be a date and tells them that he explored the dungeon with 3 girls about her age. That makes his friends want to explore dungeons as well, thinking there is a chance they will get to meet cute girls too. On the day he goes out with Katsuragi, he stops to watch a dungeon movie. Katsuragi knows that he is interested in dungeons, but she requests him to forget about it for a day. Katsuragi takes him to a dress outlet and tries on different dresses. He thinks all of them are cute, but ultimately chooses one, and Katsuragi buys that dress. On their way to the park, Katsuragi feels so happy and wishes to take a boat ride. Sitting on the boat, Kaido thinks for a while that it looks like they are actually on a date, but then he shakes off his head and Katsuragi compliments that he is looking tougher and stronger. She wishes to go out frequently with him as it feels great. Later, they have iced tea and enjoy it a lot, and at the end of the day, Katsuragi watches a man carrying his daughter in his arms. She asks Kaido if she can go to one last place with him. They stand before a building where there are dungeons inside. Katsuragi tells Kaido that her father went inside the building after promising that he would return before dinner. She knows he is somewhere inside as he never came home that day. She leaves after telling Kaido that she enjoyed it a lot, but inside his heart, Kaido knows that she is worried about him, but he wants to become a hero like his father, Captain Katsuragi. Now, Kaido practices coating water ball magic on top of the baltzard he found earlier in the hidden parts of dungeons. Lucy and Sil silently watch their master's crazy idea to combine magic with a physical weapon. But all of a sudden, the ice ball actually coats over the baltzard, and with that, he runs forward to attack a bronze golem approaching him. The ice blade cuts right through the golem's body, and in a moment, it finishes off the giant golem. Sil, as usual, admires her master's hard work that has finally paid off. He is going to get stronger with each passing day, but Lucy is lost in her thoughts. She is still immersed in his earlier words that Kaido wants to party with other women. Suddenly, Lucy feels sad and wants to know why her master chose other girls over them. She pleads to know if they have made a mistake or if they are any lesser in power and strength. But Kaido nervously keeps hearing her, unable to say anything. He finally tells them that as a master, he is very happy with both of them. But Lucy snaps that Kaido is tired of feeding them his precious and pricey monocores and now wants to get ahead with other girls. She angrily raises her stick and is about to hit him when Kaido stops her and promises that it's not about monocores. Kaido is surprised by this speculation and clarifies that he will continue to feed them monocores as before. That relaxes Lucy, but now Sil shares her opinion that she wants Kaido to do anything he wants. She wants to be a supportive servant, which annoys Lucy. Sil just wants to know why he has chosen another party to explore dungeons instead of them. Kaido shares that it is an amazing opportunity for him to get stronger. He feels weaker than both Lucy and Sil. Sil and Lucy assure him that they are with him in this decision, and he assures them that he will never tell anyone about them. Now he is much more relaxed that both Sil and Lucy are with him in this decision to join the party with Eri and other girls. But when he reaches home, he gets so nervous about calling Eri. Suddenly, the phone ringtone terrifies him, and it's Katsuragi on the other side. She wanted to talk to him, but before she could speak, Kaido shares his confusion with her. He tells her that his friends are unable to talk to some girls, so what should he tell them to cope with their nervousness? Katsuragi shares with him that once she was so nervous about getting on stage to play piano. But her father, Captain, came to her, watched her crying face, and lifted her chin a bit. That made a little smile appear on her face as he poked her. That little charm worked, and she didn't feel nervous during her performance. Kaido tries the same method and feels a bit more relaxed. He hangs up the phone without hearing what Katsuragi wanted to say. She sighs, watching the new dress she bought with Kaido, as she wants to go out with him wearing it. On the other hand, Eri practices her naginata at home when the phone starts buzzing. She is happy to know that Kaido will join them even if it's only for the weekends. She and the other girls are also busy with their schools on weekdays, so it will be great to hunt some monsters on the weekend. So she hangs up the call, telling Kaido to come to the guild on Saturday morning. Kaido is so thankful that Katsuragi's charm worked to relax him. On Saturday, Kaido joins the other girls to fight golems on the 7th floor. In collaboration, Miku sends an earth wave, and Kaido attacks with his ice baltzard. Thus, they defeat one golem. With the help of Snatch, another one dies, and Eri finishes off the third and last one. Eri is surprised to see Kaido's ice baltzard, as they never knew he could use magic. He shares that he practices combining tools with magic, and it's been amazing. She is so impressed with his skill, but Kaido admires how efficiently Eri can use her naginata. Eri has been practicing this for years. They have a lunch break, and later at his home, Kaido thinks that these girls are too rich, because their lunch pack contained very delicious and luxurious foods. More importantly, he remembers that they are going to explore the 8th floor the next day. The next day, Kaido appears in a life jacket, and the girls are so surprised. He tells Miku that the 8th floor is full of aquatic animals and they can be in deep water, so he bought this. This jacket can protect against magic as well, but he lies that he can swim. Walking on the 8th floor, Snatch makes some weird sounds. It's as if she can sense some monsters around, just like Syl. All of a sudden, a salamander emerges from the water and throws a poisonous splash on Kaido's life jacket. That not only soils the jacket, but immediately begins tearing it apart. Eri shouts at him to throw it quickly before it affects Kaido's body too. As soon as he throws it away, it vanishes into fumes. Kaido's heart breaks watching his prized possession vanishing in front of his eyes. Suddenly, another salamander emerges from the water and is about to attack Kaido. But before it can take any action, Miku shoots an arrow, and the salamander vanishes. Kaido is astonished to see his crossbow in her hand. Thus, she reminds him that he gave her this earlier. And for the first time, she used it, and the aim was so accurate that it impressed Kaido. Walking on the 8th floor, many giant crabs, hippos, and strange fishes attack them. In a fit of fear, Kaido falls into a puddle and thinks that he is about to drown in the water. With closed eyes, he shouts as if he is going to die when Eri tells him to relax, as the water is only a little deep. But now all three girls know that Kaido actually cannot swim. They take their positions with their guns and all the tools to kill attacking fishes from every direction. Using fireballs, guns, and naginata, they kill numerous fishes, but ultimately, Kaido's ammo finishes. Now he watches Eri using her naginata like an expert and converts his ice baltzard to function like the naginata. With it, he kills every fish approaching him. But he does not notice his HP falling quickly. Suddenly, as his HP goes down to 0, Kaido falls down. He opens his eyes after a while in Eri's lap and immediately gets aside, apologizing for getting too intimate. She does not mind and allows him to rest his head, but he wants to know how he got his HP back so quickly. Eri shares that she bought and gave him a magic potion to replenish his energy. That impresses Kaido, but Eri shocks him by saying that they are a party and it's normal to purchase healing items for each other. Besides, they collected a lot of mana cores from killing fishes, as he contributed a lot to killing them with his unique fighting style. He blushes and confesses that he was only mimicking Eri. All of a sudden, Snatch alerts them about a monster, and it's a huge dinosaur. The 8th floor is not supposed to have dinosaurs, but now they are stuck in an unexpected situation, so they plan to run away. As they all turn towards the end of a tunnel, numerous stones falling from the dinosaurs' movement block their escape pathway. There is no time to escape, and Kaido formulates a plan to counter the attack now. He asks Hikari to stop the dinosaur with her Earth Wave magic, while Miku will throw fireballs. Snatch will inflict long-distance attacks, while Eri will help him by distracting the dinosaur, allowing him to pierce its body with the ice baltzard. They attack simultaneously, but Kaido's baltzard and fireballs do not affect the dinosaur. Now, Eri jumps onto its body with her Naginata and pierces the dinosaur's head very strongly. But that only causes a minor injury, and the dinosaur shakes its head and throws Eri to the ground with full force. She falls, and with a stern expression, reveals her wish that she will finally become a hero. Kaido runs towards her, and it's evident that she could die with the next attack. On the other hand, the dinosaur is getting closer to Hikari and Miku, and knowing that their attacks will be of no use, they hug each other. At the same time, Kaido thinks that he promised Syl and Lucy that he would not tell anyone about them. But they will certainly die if he does not ask for their help. Without delay, he takes out the servant cards and summons Syl and Lucy. Miku, Eri, and Hikari watch the thunder and lights with amazement as Lucy and Syl arrive. Kaido commands them to kill the dinosaur. Syl is happy to obey her master, while Lucy is greedy for the giant and tastier monocore. They use hellfire and lightning attacks on the dinosaur and finish it off. Kaido thanks them for their help, and Miku is so excited to see an angel among them that she hugs Syl with happiness. On the other hand, Hikari is so impressed with the combination of angel and devil that she wants to touch Lucy's hair. At first, Lucy denies rudely, but seeing Hikari's excitement, Lucy permits. Kaido apologizes for not telling Eri earlier, but now shares that both girls are his servants. To strengthen their newly formed bond into a stronger friendship, Miku suggests that all the girls bathe together. Eri loves the idea, and they ask permission from Syl and Lucy to call them by their nicknames. Syl immediately agrees, but Lucy, who was initially reluctant, as usual, could not deny after seeing Hikari's excitement. They hug each other, and Eri thanks Lucy and Syl for saving her life. On the other side of the wall, Kaido takes a bath and is happy that all the girls are getting along so well. He pats Snatch and thinks that friendship transforms people into amazing individuals. Afterwards, he asks Eri about the word hero she spoke when she fell unconscious. She shares that her father used to say that a hero protects what is right and stands for himself. She wanted to be a hero because of what her father said. That's the sole reason she is exploring dungeons. In the end, she asks Kaido to join her at her academy for an open event. Kaido talks to his friends at school about going to the university's event, and they suggest taking Katsuragi with him, because she already wants to get admission to that university. Besides, they are dating. But Kaido denies that they are dating. Meanwhile, Katsuragi, talking to her friend, hears that Kaido and his friends are talking about her. She wants to know, and Kaido once again feels so nervous. Thus, he tries the same trick to lift his cheek and asks Katsuragi with a stammering voice if she will go with him to the university's open event. She agrees happily, while her friend denies Kaido's friends, which disappoints them. On the day of the event, Katsuragi wears the same dress that she bought with Kaido. She opens the door, and Kaido admires the way she looks. She is so happy and excited for today. Like this video and subscribe to Annie Summary for more anime recap.